Map2Grow Presents 10 Psychological Tips to Read Anyone Instantly. Before starting the video, if you are new here, please subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Everyone wants to know what other people are thinking, and while it would be amazing if we could all read minds, that's unfortunately not possible yet. So what's the next best thing? Reading people. While it may not be mind reading, understanding someone's psychology gives you a major insight into their thoughts, feelings, and motivations. In this video, we will explore 10 psychological tips that will help you read anyone instantly. From their body language to the words they use, you'll be an expert at reading people in no time. 1. Eye contact. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools we have for communication. It can convey confidence, interest, and sincerity. If someone is making eye contact with you, it means they are sending signals that they are interested in you and what you are saying. There are a few things to keep in mind when it comes to using eye contact effectively if you are interested in someone. First, it is important to maintain eye contact throughout the conversation. This shows that you are still interested and engaged in the conversation. Second, try to make eye contact with everyone in the room. This will help create a more open and inclusive environment. Finally, avoid staring at someone for too long. This can come across as creepy or intrusive. 2. Pay attention to their voice. When it comes to understanding someone, pay attention to their voice. The way a person speaks can say a lot about their personality, emotions, and intentions. For example, if someone has a high-pitched voice, they may be feeling anxious or scared. If someone has a low and slow voice, they may be feeling sad or depressed. If someone has a loud and booming voice, they may be feeling confident or aggressive. Of course, you can't always judge a book by its cover, or in this case, a person by their voice. But if you pay attention to the way someone speaks, it can give you some clues about what they're thinking and how they're feeling. 3. Facial expression. Facial expressions are a universal language that can reveal what a person is thinking or feeling. The ability to read them can be a valuable asset in both personal and professional interactions. There are a few basic principles to reading facial expressions. 1. Pay attention to the eyes. They are said to be the windows to the soul, and they can convey a wealth of information about a person's emotional state. 2. Look for clusters of expression. A single facial cue can be ambiguous, but when several cues are seen together, they can give a more accurate picture of how someone is feeling. 3. Consider the context. The same facial expression can mean different things in different situations. For example, a smile might indicate happiness in one context but fear in another. 4. Be aware of cultural differences. Facial expressions are not always interpreted in the same way across cultures. For instance, what we consider to be an angry face may actually be considered polite or respectful in another culture. 4. Be a good listener. If you want to get to know someone, it's important to be a good listener. Attention to what the other person is saying and ask questions if you're not sure what they mean. Avoid interrupting and instead let the person speak until they're finished. You might be surprised at how much you can learn about someone by simply listening to them. 5. Using names. When you meet someone for the first time, always use their name. This helps to create a rapport and makes the person feel important. Remembering someone's name shows that you are interested in them as a person, not just as a means to an end. If you have trouble remembering names, try using a mnemonic device. For example, if you meet a woman named Sarah, you could associate her name with the word sunshine. Whenever you think of Sarah, you'll also think of sunshine, and the association will help you to remember her name more easily. 6. Dress to impress. When meeting someone for the first time, it is important to make a good impression. The way you dress can say a lot about you and can influence the way others perceive you. It is important to choose clothes that are appropriate for the occasion and that make you look your best. Avoid wearing anything that is too revealing or that makes you look unprofessional. If you are not sure what to wear, it is always better to err on the side of caution and dress more formally than you think is necessary. You can always take off a jacket or tie if you feel like you are overdressed. 7. Body language. Body language is a form of nonverbal communication in which physical behavior, as opposed to words, are used to express or convey information. Such behavior includes facial expressions, body posture, gestures, eye movement, touch, and the use of space. Body language is believed to be the most honest form of communication as it is a direct representation of our thoughts and feelings. Our body language can often reveal what we are thinking or feeling even when we are trying to hide it. It can also be a very powerful tool for persuasion and influence. Some of the most important things you can communicate through body language are your attitudes, emotions, and intentions. By understanding how to read and interpret body language, you can gain a better understanding of how other people are feeling and what they may be thinking. There are certain types of body language that can be universally interpreted regardless of culture or country. For example, crossing your arms in front of your chest is usually interpreted as a sign of defense or protection, while smiling is typically seen as a sign of happiness or approval. However, there are also many cultural differences in the way body language is interpreted. For instance, in some cultures it is considered rude to make direct eye contact, while in others it is considered disrespectful not to do so. The best way to understand how to read and use body language effectively is to pay attention to the cues you yourself are giving off. Start by observing your own body language and see how it affects your interactions with other people. 8. The psychology of personal space. When we interact with others, we are constantly engaged in a dance of personal space. We are constantly aware of the space around us and how close or far away others are. This is because our personal space is a very important part of our psychological makeup. Our personal space is an invisible bubble that surrounds us and makes us feel comfortable. It is a place where we feel safe and secure. When someone invades our personal space, it can make us feel uncomfortable, threatened, or even frightened. There are different levels of personal space depending on the situation. For example, when we are talking to someone, we usually stand about 2 feet away from them. This is considered to be the social zone. If someone were to stand any closer than this, it would be considered intrusive and would make most people feel uncomfortable. The next level of personal space is the intimate zone, which is about 18 inches away from our bodies. This is the space where we stand when we are talking to someone we are close to, such as a spouse or partner. Standing any closer than this would be considered too intimate for most people and would make them feel uncomfortable. The last level of personal space is the public zone, which extends 4 feet away from our bodies. This is the area where we stand when we are talking to strangers or giving a presentation. Standing any closer than this would be considered inappropriate and would make most people feel uncomfortable. 9. Ask questions. Building rapport with someone requires genuine interest. The best way to show you're interested in someone is to ask them questions. Not only will this make the other person feel good, but you'll also learn a lot about them. When asking questions, be sure to ask open-ended questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. These types of questions encourage the other person to elaborate and give you more information. Avoid nosy questions that are personal or invasive. You want to build trust, not create unease. Listen attentively to the answers and follow up with additional questions if needed. 10. Conclusion. If you want to get an edge in your personal or professional life, it can pay to know how to read people. By understanding the psychology behind body language and facial expressions, you can glean important information about others that they may be trying to keep hidden. If you practice them regularly, you may find yourself with a valuable skill that will serve you well in a variety of situations. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.